going on, guys? In today's video, I'm going to be breaking down the Warzone 3 nuke and how to do it. It's a little bit different than it was in the past from Warzone 2. It's still 3 elements. The first element is a crown that puts a mark on your head. The second element is a damage over time effect. And the third element is a EMP and radar scrambler. You can't use vehicles with the third element. There's two main differences. The first is no one can currently pick up the element. So if you drop the element on the ground, no one can pick it up and move it. That's a huge improvement from the last game. It makes it a lot easier. And the last is the third element actually spawns in a chopper, and once you shoot it down and pick it up, that's when the reactor spawns. You do not have to wait until the 4th or 5th zone to do it. It spawns as soon as you pick up the last element, T. Keep that in mind. So you can do this a lot faster and you don't have to wait to the end of the game. Or you can. It's completely up to you and how the flow of the game's going. So without further ado, let's get right into it. So to start things off, I recommend getting at least 1 or 2 helicopters for your team. I always land on a heli. I would advise at least 2 people to go do caches, as it gives you quick money and boxes and streaks that you can use throughout the game. 2 of my teammates usually go to military base and do the extended cache routes there. Whoever has the heli usually goes for orb number 1. I always grab a heli and do the first element every single time. That's my job. The first element in the nuke contract is altered just a little bit. It's a 2-step process. First, go to the radioactive sign on the map, open the duffel bag, and acquire a Geiger counter. Now, once you pick the Geiger counter up, a green circle will spawn on the map not far away, and you have to go use the Geiger counter to find the element. Once you have the Geiger counter in your hand, you want to get this number as close to 10 as possible. But when the number starts going up, that means you're getting closer and closer and closer to the element. Okay, this is what the first element looks like once you find it. It is in a box that is marked with a Warzone nuke symbol on it, but it makes no sound. So you're gonna have to look for it and find it with your eyes. Once you find this, you open it and BE will spawn. Now that I have BE, I want to go drop it in a safe location, in an open field, an open area that is hard to get set up and defend. So you want teams to fight over this because they can't pick it up. Remember that. But you don't want to put it in a spot where people can just sit in buildings around it and not really fight each other, because then it's going to be a real big pain to come and pick up later. Now, there's a very advanced trick here. The reactor spawns seem to be static, meaning they drop in certain locations every time. So if you have a good read on where you think the circle is going to finish, the reactor will probably drop in one of those static locations in that circle. So as you can see on the map, it looks as if the circle will either end on Cargo or Old Town. So I'm going to gamble here and drop the BE on one of the static reactor spawns in Old Town. So while I'm doing BE, while I'm taking BE to the drop location where I'm going to drop it on the map, my teammate is currently doing the second element. So for the second element, you have to go to the marked safe on the map and drill the safe. You have to stand by it like kind of like a recon. And once the timer finishes, the second element will spawn. It's pretty easy to do. You're only going to run into a problem if a team is camping on it. Other than that, one person should be able to do it just fine. I have BE in the desired location, and my teammate was able to solo do the safe and get the second element. So now we're going to focus on the third element, which is shooting down the chopper. Once you shoot down the chopper, the third element will drop in a crate. Once you pick up this element from the crate, the third element, which is T, the reactor will spawn. Clusters are very strong in this game. For whatever reason, they got buffed and they're almost a guaranteed kill if someone is in the radius of the cluster. Now, for endgame, when you're trying to send streaks at the reactor, once you have the bomb planted, clusters last the longest and they're almost a guaranteed kill if someone's defusing the bomb. Also, you can have 2 clusters called in at the same time as opposed to only 1 airstrike at a time. It's very hard to constantly call in PAs. So I would recommend using clusters, as they are very strong in this game. One thing to note is as soon as you shoot down the chopper and pick up the last element T, you're gonna have 5 minutes to plant the bomb. So there's a little 1.5 minute window where there's no time on the clock and it's waiting for the reactor to fly in and drop. Once the reactor hits the ground, you have 5 minutes to plant the bomb. So you gotta be very quick here. I would make sure that you have vehicles and everyone has their loadout and you have streaks before you pick T up, because it gets really crazy in that 5 minutes trying to do everything if you're not already set up. So as you can see here, when it says bomb site revealed, awaiting bomb arrival in the bottom left with a 0 on the timer. So this is the 1 minute window that I was referring to. Once the reactor drops from the sky and hits the ground, the 5 minute timer starts. So you can see here that I was able to drop the BE exactly where the reactor spawns. Now, these reactor locations I mentioned before are static. So if you have a general idea of where you think the zone is going to close and you have had a reactor there in that area before, you can almost bet that it's going to go to that same exact location. One thing that is super important is making sure you have a porta-buy nearby or some buy station, whether it's a static buy station or a porta-buy. They're very, very useful late game. So if you're on the rooftop, you throw the porta-buy down, you have a look over. If your teammates die, you can buy them back. You can constantly buy resources and or streaks. It's very, very helpful to have one late game. And that's just another reason why I recommend looting caches early game, because there's a chance that they drop from there as well. Now, smokes are absolutely essential for arming the bomb. It's very, very hard to arm a bomb without a smoke. So make sure everyone in your team has more than 2 smokes at a bare minimum. Make sure you have muni boxes and or restock so you can constantly lob smokes while your teammate is planting the bomb. Now you can see we're all set up on different roofs, different angles, having different eyes on the bomb. It's super important that you take different angles here. So if one person dies, you don't all die at the same time. Or if you get PA'd or streaked off your roof or your location, you don't all have to move and you can still keep hard eyes on the bomb. Defending the bomb is pretty self-explanatory. I just wanted to show you guys how we go through the first couple steps of the process and break it down for you guys. If you guys have any questions, feel free to ask in the comments, but I hope this helps and I hope you guys get your first of many Warzone 3 nukes. Thank you guys so much and have a wonderful day. Let's get it, baby.
Yo, this WSP9 is fire.
I just saw Bonq just punching everyone in the head, bro. I sit down, boys. So bad. Wow, wow.